Hey, thank you so much for checking out our online experience. Here at Thrive Church, we exist to help people find and follow Jesus. If you'd like more information about us or what we do, you can visit us online at thrivechurchmi.com. So just sit back, relax, and we hope you enjoy this week's message.
Not a day goes by that I don't have a question, and most days I don't get an answer.
Why would I want them telling me all the things that I'm doing wrong?
I don't see how stories from 1,000 years ago can relate to my life today.
Christians say that they're loving until it's someone that's not like them.
I just don't think I need
Who
church.
needs church?
I just don't think I need church anymore.
Well, hey, good morning, Thrive Church. How are we doing today? Woo! So very good to see you. My name is Jason. I'm the pastor here. I'm so honored that you would spend our Sunday with us. And if you're joining us on Facebook Live, thank you for joining. And thank you for sharing that. The more shares means the more people get to hear what we're talking about, and we get to point them to Jesus. And so the Shoe Project is just something that has just been ingrained in our DNA from the beginning of our church. I'll never forget sitting down with Marcy, the principal at Ganyard Elementary, with Sarah Burkhart, and saying, hey, we'd like to buy every one of your kids a brand new pair of tennis shoes. And the tears just started flowing down her face. And she said, you have no idea how many times we tape up kids' shoes. When I travel to other parts of the country and I tell churches the Shoe Project story, they look at me a little dumbfounded, because a lot of times I'm going to suburban areas where we wouldn't honestly be able to buy shoes that those kids are used to wearing. Very expensive shoes. And I go, actually kind of different in central Michigan. A lot of our kids have never owned a brand new pair of shoes. And that's why our generosity is so powerful. That's why the church is needed, because who else is doing stuff like that? It's just crazy. It's just crazy. So I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that we can be a part of what God is doing through those kind of things. And I just want to tell you, I was gone for a week. I was in Pittsburgh. Last Sunday we were at Treeline Church, and then I flew to Memphis, and I did a middle school assembly, which was absolutely great. I was a little nervous about it, and it went well. And it went so well that one of the teachers came up to me afterwards, and he's like, oh man, I've been teaching for 20 years. Never seen anything like that. I'm like, oh, okay. And he said, never seen someone as old as you keep kids' attention. I was like, all right. That's fantastic. I feel so good now. I feel so good. But I get to go on these trips, and I want to tell you that I desperately miss Thrive when I'm gone. 99% of the time, if I'm not here on a Sunday, I'm at another church, preaching or teaching or partnering with them. Tracy and I talk about all the time, what would it be like some Sunday to just sleep in? And then we're like, nah, that's for silly people. I'm kidding, sleep in some Sundays. But when I'm gone, I love when you leave me messages, or those of you who have my cell phone number, text me. It just means a lot. I get lonely. I look at pictures a lot of my family and our church. And so it just means a lot that you would pray for me and that you would care. But we're in week 3 of this series, Who Needs Church Anymore? We've dove into this. We've had so many good questions with people. And it's a question that we've probably all asked at some time. Who really needs this? Like, do we really need this? Do we need to get up on Sundays and get here? Do we need to get a massive amount of emails from our pastor throughout the week? Do we need to, see all that kind of, is it important? Can I just worship Jesus in my house by myself? Because then I don't have to be around people. Maybe I'm the only one who's thought that sometimes. But here's the crazy thing. I think why the church is the answer to what's happening in our world today. There's a tremendous book called Love Does. Love Does by Bob Goff, Goff. I would implore you, I would encourage you, I would challenge you, I would do everything possible. Order it today on Amazon or get it on Audible Books or however you read or listen to books. It is a book that I read 8 years ago that changed my life. I've read it a dozen times since. Bob Goff is one of my favorite speakers and writers, and he speaks about love. And it's just one of those crazy books that make you rethink everything. And this is what I love that he said. He said, I used to want to fix people, but now I just want to be with them. And I think so often the church is known more for what it's against, because we're like, no, you can't do it that way. No, you can't do this. No, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. And I think it reminds people of the Pharisees when Jesus came around. Because the Pharisees had all these rules and lists, and Jesus came to just say, hey, love God, love others. Let everything you do streamline from there. Love God, love others. Run it all through that filter. Should I gossip about my coworker? Love God, love others. No. Okay, not at all. Should I steal from my boss because he shorted me on hours? Love God, love God. God said a whole lot about being a person of integrity. Okay, no. Like, we can streamline it all through those commands that Jesus gave us. Love God, love others. And that's why the church is so incredibly important. But I can understand why people are hesitant. I really can. I get it sometimes. We're mean. The church is filled with messy people, and we're mean. We're mean to each other. We betray each other. We forget each other's stuff. We back out on each other. But what if we could just change that? What if we could change it? What if we as a church body come together and say, we're not going to operate that way? What if we could do our best to be there for each other? I think of Janelle Garrett, who is one of our volunteer staff members, who this week was helped leading the homeless shelter at the Rotating Homeless Shelter. Like, I think about, like, oh my goodness, what an amazing heart. Organizing some of our thrivers who have been volunteering there. It's just amazing. I think of the college kid who came up to me between worship experiences, and he said, I've never been to anything like Friday night at Vision on Mission. About a third of our church was there. And I know some of you were traveling and working and you got stuff, all that kind of stuff. It was, I think, the most powerful night in the history of our church. Yeah. Partly because the room is not acoustically treated. And so when we sang in that room, it sounded it was amazing. It was amazing. This room, like, that drowns out sound, all that kind of stuff. It was so powerful to come together and kind of go, in the name of Jesus, God, would you provide? He said to me, I've never been in such a God-charged environment. He's like, I leave Thrive and I feel like I can do anything. Like, this is what it should be like. He's 20 years old. I'm like, come on. I want his kind of faith. That's how powerful the church is. And here's what I hope you leave with today. Your love transforms your community. Your love transforms your community. Your love, because you've experienced the love of God, can then transform your community. Whether your community is your family at home, whether it's your workplace, whether it's your school environment, whether it's your neighborhood, your love can transform your community. It is so powerful. There's a passage of scripture in Romans chapter 12, and we're going to go through it. The verses will be on the screen, or you can go to YouVersion. But it's so powerful what happens. And the Apostle Paul is writing this passage of scripture to the church in Rome. And here's the crazy thing about Rome. At one point, the Roman Empire was the stuff. Like, that was it. It was the stuff. And it's amazing how the Roman Empire was no longer the stuff. And so for the first 40 years of the church, they were the persecuted minority. Do you know why I follow Jesus? I don't follow Jesus because my parents made me follow Jesus, although I respect their faith, and at some point I had to make my faith my own. I don't follow Jesus because the worship songs are great. I don't follow Jesus because it's fun. I follow Jesus because Jesus Christ was the Son of God, and Scripture told us that He would come to save His people from their sins, that He would die on the cross, that He would rise again 3 days later, and then He did. And then there were eyewitnesses that wrote it down. There were eyewitnesses that wrote it down. And the crazy thing is, I follow Jesus because He did what He said He was going to do. Like, if a guy can pull that off, like, okay, I'll follow you. Like, really? You're going to rise again from the dead? And people are going to see it? Of those original people who saw Jesus after He rose again from the dead, all of those people believed so strongly in that story that their lives were persecuted and ultimately ended as martyrs because of that story. You can't tell me that they wouldn't have balked or given up if they didn't believe it to their core. I love this. I found this the other day. When sometimes people balk at Scripture. Like, it's just an old book. What does it matter? This is crazy. There are 5 original copies of anything by Aristotle. I don't see anyone devoted to, like, denying that Aristotle was who he was and all his wisdom and philosophy and all that kind of stuff. 7 original copies of Plato's Tetralogies. Okay, Plato, super smart guy. 100 copies of Sophocles' work. 1,565 surviving copies of the original Iliad. Okay, wow, these are like monumental manuscripts and documents in the world's history that pretty much nobody dispute. But there are 5,843 copies of the original Greek New Testament manuscripts. So you're telling me that these people lost their lives over this book because they just hoped it was real? They just thought it was real? I followed Jesus because he did what he said he was going to do. He died on the cross. He rose again. People saw it. It's been maintained all of these years through God's word. And now I get to be used by Jesus because I've placed my faith and trust in Jesus. I've confessed my sins. I believe he is who he said he is. I asked him to lead my life, and I've given my life to him. That's why I follow Jesus. That's why I follow Jesus. I don't follow Jesus. Two Saturdays ago, I was walking through the University of Pittsburgh campus, gorgeous campus. I came across St. Philippe's Catholic Cathedral. And it is this, I'll show pictures next week, massively giant cathedral. And I didn't know 8 a.m. Mass was about to start. So I walked into 8 a.m. Mass. I haven't been to a Mass in 20 years. I was in my sweats, my sweatpants, my headphones. And people are walking in, shimmying, and they're dancing. I mean, there's a bunch of different things, and I'm taking pictures, and I'm like, okay, I need to be respectful. I'm not disrespecting their traditions and those kind of things, but I just was I didn't know what was going on. So I sat down, and I just kind of took it in. Big theological differences between us and the Catholic Church and some of those kind of things that were happening. But I looked around in this 1,500 seat, big, giant auditorium, and there were 20 people there. And I thought, oh, man. And I looked at the marble and the massive candles. I mean, it was gorgeous. But I'm like, what's the point of all of that if it's just staying in this room? Because here's the thing. You and I are more beautiful and are created in God's image, and we get to go be his cathedrals out in the community. So we don't need to go to a sacred place. Wow, that's really good. That's really good. That's off the top of my head. Where is, wow, I gotta write that down. Zach, write that down for me. Every once in a while, something happens. I can tell a joke, but every once in a while, wow. So let's go be his cathedrals and take the beauty of our creation, how he created us in God's image, and go everywhere. So Romans 12:9 says this, love must be sincere, hate what is evil, and cling to what is good. Love must be sincere. Paul starts out with the word sincere. And that word in the Greek, the New Testament was originally written in the Koine Greek. And that word is literally translated without hypocrisy. Love must be sincere, without hypocrisy. How often have you invited someone to church, or you got into a conversation with somebody about church, and they're like, I don't do church, it's filled with hypocrites. Yeah, it is, because we're people. We're people. I'm a hypocrite. I'm the chief of all sinners. Do you want to open up, if I opened up my sins to you, look out. You'd be like, what? Did you really need to buy seasons 4, 5, and 6 of The Walking Dead? Seems like a little excess, Jason. Come on. But Paul says, love must, I didn't do that. I'm just kidding. I don't have that kind of money. I have 5 kids. Come on. But love must be sincere, without hypocrisy. Paul's urging us to take off our masks. Can you imagine living without masks on? Wouldn't this be a great, safe environment if everybody who came legitimately just knew that everybody was looking out for their best interests? And instead of looking out for the gossip that's happening in their life, or the he said, she said, all that kind of crap, and we just legitimately looked out for our best interests. That's what Paul's kind of saying. Then, Romans 12:10-13, he says, be devoted to one another. Honor one another above yourselves. Never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor, says the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Share with the Lord's people who are in need. Practice hospitality. There are so many gems in there. Each one of those could be a message in this series. Be devoted to one another. Devoted is a tough word, isn't it? We use it so sparingly. Sometimes people will be hey, can you serve this Sunday at church? I think I'm going to get an invite to a friend's house on Saturday night. They haven't invited me yet. Maybe I'm going to be busy. I don't know. Or those of us who have coached Little League year after year after year after year, and we're like, hey, mom and dad's, like, I need somebody to help me put away the stuff after the field. Oh. And coach, don't go 2 minutes over, because I got to go. Okay, thank you. Like, devoted is a tough word sometimes, right? And the things that we do get devoted to, isn't that interesting sometimes? Like, wow. Like, wow, be devoted. Be devoted. Then it says, honor one another above yourselves. Like, lift each other up. In the assembly that I do when I go into schools, my whole assembly is kindness lifts. Kindness, right? Kindness is loaning someone else your strength instead of reminding them of their weakness. Wouldn't that be amazing if we took that into our workplaces and our schools? And then we lift them up with that kindness. We love, we invite, we forgive, we thank, and we serve. Kindness lifts. Honor one another above yourselves. Then never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor serving the Lord. Isn't that interesting there? Don't be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor. Like, keep the spiritual passion high. And does it say right there, by memorizing, by learning, by doing? No, it says by serving. And then it says be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Oh, and then get this, share with the Lord's people who are in need. Like, that's the thing that messed up societies when the church first came around. Because why are Christians selling stuff to help each other out? Why are Christians loaning each other stuff? I'll never forget. We lived in Waterford, Michigan years ago. I was cutting my lawn one day. Lawnmower broke. I couldn't get it fixed. And then I was on a youth trip. And my neighbor across the street was like the head deacon at his church. And he came over one day and he's like, dude, I gotta let you know, you're letting the neighborhood down. Your grass needs to be cut. And I'm like, I want to cut it. I actually love cutting my grass. I just don't know how to fix my lawnmower. I'm broke. I have a little kid. I don't know what to do. And he's like, well, get it cut. And he walked across the street. And I was like, maybe you could have like loaned me your lawnmower. Maybe you could have offered to help. Maybe you could have like offered to fix it. Like, come on. Philippians 2:3. This reminds me of Philippians 2:3. Paul says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves. Like, are you kidding me right now? This goes against everything we're taught. Like, the church just messes people up. Jesus came and he just presented this upside down world. We're really supposed to love our enemies. We're really supposed to love our community. We're really supposed to lift other people up ahead of ourselves. We're really supposed to value others more than ourselves. Like, no. We honor people. This is why we do this. Because every single person we come across has been created in the image of the God of the universe. That's why we honor each other. Even the people that drive us crazy. 10 years ago, I'm speaking at a retreat in upstate New York at an Episcopalian youth camp, a couple hundred teenagers. I'm playing ping pong. I'm not a truly competitive person. If you want to beat me bad enough, fine, beat me. But if I sense that, like, okay, I'll give you my competitive flair if I sense that you're not like a tool. But there's this one kid who's just like, he's beating everybody, and I'm like, okay, let's have fun. And so before he plays me, he plays this 15-year-old boy with Down syndrome. And this boy was so loving, caring, taking care of everybody, introducing everybody. Hi, my name's Jacob. Hi, my name's Jacob. And so this kid, the tool kid, goes and he plays the Down syndrome kid, and he totally embarrasses him. And he makes a big deal about it in front of everybody. Well, guess just who got his butt whooped? Because I'm not going to stand for that. Those kind of people drive me bananas. They drive me bananas. Those are the type of people that's hard for me to honor and to lift up above myself. People who have this racist thread that just drives deep into their soul. Wow. Those are the type. I'll be honest with you. Those are tough people for me to love. Mm-hmm. Those are the tough ones. But Scripture doesn't give us the clause, does it? There's no racist clause or hate clause or tool clause. Jesus just says love others. No, he's a tool. He's the biggest tool. No, he stole my raise from work because he claimed that he did the work and he didn't. Jesus says still love. That's the crazy thing about it. Romans 12-13. Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer. Share with the Lord's people. Practice hospitality. That word hospitality means pursuing friendliness to strangers. Friendliness to strangers. This place All of us have a job, and it's to welcome every single person that walks in every Sunday, because I go to churches all over the country who I just know aren't used to visitors coming. Because there's just kind of huddles everywhere. If you ever see a huddle out there, walk up and be like, hey, no holy huddles here. We got to keep talking to people. Yeah, we can be friends with each other and all that kind of stuff, but like, just walk up and be like, you a holy huddle? No Christian tools here. Enough. Let's go. Ooh, that's a new hashtag. Christian tools. Your love transforms your community. Your love transforms. Then the crazy thing is, Jesus even said this about how do we treat each other. Matthew 5:38-39. You've heard that it was said, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. Anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also. Jesus, just stop. Like, come on. He's quoting words and he's quoting laws from several Old Testament passages. And they're called the lex talionis, which is the law of retaliation. And this law was given to the Jews to protect the innocent and make sure retaliation did not occur above the offense. So the retaliation can happen, but we don't want to make it too big, right? And so Jesus points out that while the rights of the innocents were protected by the law, the righteous don't always need to claim their rights. Because a righteous man would be characterized by humility and selflessness. Oh, Jesus, come on. I found this not too long ago. I thought this was helpful. Love thy homeless neighbor. Love thy Muslim neighbor. Love thy black neighbor. Love thy Hispanic neighbor. Love thy Asian neighbor. Love thy Indian neighbor. Love thy white neighbor. Love thy gay neighbor. Love thy straight neighbor. Love thy atheist neighbor. Love thy agnostic neighbor. Love thy racist neighbor. Love thy addicted neighbor. Love thy Christian neighbor. I may not agree with all of them, but it doesn't mean that I get to treat them with hate and discord. It doesn't mean that I get to gossip about them or say horribly awful things on social media. Romans 12:14-17, bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Mourn with those who mourn. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be proud, but be willing to associate with people of low position. Do not be conceited. Do not repay anyone evil for evil. Be careful to do what is right in the eyes of everyone. Like, come on, Paul. Really bless those who persecute you? No way. And maybe when Paul wrote this, he's thinking of Stephen. Stephen was the first person in Scripture who gave his life for the gospel. He was a martyr. He was in charge of making sure people had food in the first church, and he was stoned because of his beliefs in Jesus. Do you know just a few weeks ago, 10 Egyptian Christians were martyred and killed because of their belief in Jesus? Do you know in China, the Chinese government is shutting down churches left and right? Why in America do we take it for granted that we get to freely gather and worship? Like, shouldn't we be so passionate that we have the right to gather and worship, that we flood churches with our arms raised high, worshiping at the top of our lungs because the God of the universe blessed us by letting us be born in this country where we can worship with our arms lifted high? I believe the answer is yes. Yes. Can you imagine that kind of love? A love that transforms your community. I love this quote by Bob Goff in his book, Love Does. It always seemed to me that broken things, just like broken people, get used more. It's probably because God has more pieces to work with. At the very end of this passage of Scripture, Romans 12:18, it says, if it's possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. This doesn't mean I'm going to agree with everyone. It doesn't mean that I'm going to believe exactly what they believe. But I don't have to hate them. I don't have to extend hate. I can extend love to them. The Apostle Paul wrote a ton about love. And there's two very powerful passages of Scripture. One in Romans 12 and one in 1 Corinthians 13. And I want to actually read this one together. And I know you've heard it. And if you haven't, go home and read it today. Read it tomorrow. Read it the next day. But we're going to read 1 Corinthians 13, 4-8 together. Let's read it together. Ready? Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonest others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no records of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Oh, let's say that end one more time. Love never fails. The beautiful thing about God's love is it does not disappear. It does not disappear. My challenge to you today, may your love be selfless, humble, and filled with peace. May it be filled with peace. Let me read to you Romans 12, 14 to 17 from the Message version. It says this: bless your enemies, no cursing under your breath, laugh with your happy friends when they're happy, share tears when they're down, get along with each other, don't be stuck up. Make friends with nobodies. Don't be the great somebody. Don't hit back. Discover beauty in everyone. I love that. Discover beauty in everyone. One of my favorite pastors, authors, writers, he's no longer a pastor, but he runs this organization called One Day's Wages. His name is Eugene Cho. He put this on Instagram or Facebook. He said, in our culture, we could be so obsessed with the spectacular, but what if God has called us to small, ordinary, mundane things? May we still be faithful. May we still go about such things with great love and joy. This is what we're talking about. You're going to love people that it's not going to be blasted on Facebook or Instagram. You're just going to do it because the God of the universe loves you, and we're called to love others because your love will transform your community. Your love will transform your community. Before we leave, I just wanted to give you a 4 Central Michigan update because I know not everyone could make it to Vision on Mission on Friday night. And so some of this will be repeat if you were there, but I just want to make sure that you have all the information that you have. So over the past year and a half, we just really feel like God is leading us and calling us to plant roots in our community. Now, do we have to have a building to be a church? No. 5.5 years, we've proved that pretty well. We could be a portable church. But we really believe the time has come. The time has come to plant roots in our community, to find a home, because it's hard to be a portable church. It's hard to turn much emphasis towards the community when so much emphasis is going to set up and tear down and making sure all this happens every single week. And so we want to create a space unlike the average church building that sits empty 6 days of the week. We want to create a space where we actually offer it to the community, where Chamber of Commerce could host events, where we have a tutoring center, where we have a playscape. Don't put up the photos yet, please. Thank you. And so this is why we're moving forward. Now here's the thing about what we're moving forward. This is the biggest vision, the biggest mission, the biggest venture we have taken on as a church. When we moved to CMU, we had to raise $60,000. We did that so we could buy extra equipment to do that. Over the course of 5 years, we've given away about $100,000 to church planning, which is amazing. We've given away another $60,000 as we've raised it for the shoe project. Now it's time for us to come together as a church and really be sacrificial and really be generous and really say, okay, God, what are you calling me to give? Because here's the reality. A church our size, we should be able to raise this amount of money, no problem. I'll just be honest with you. About 20 or 25 families at Thrive Church give at the 10% level. The 10% level. Another 40 or 50 give somewhere in the 4% to 7%. And then about another 100 families give at the 1 to 3% range. Now here's the thing. I don't get up in front of you and say, you have to give 10%. I don't. I believe that passionately for my life. I've seen God move. The deeper I've taken steps to give, I've seen transformation happen in my marriage, in our parenting, in our family's life, as I've freely given. And so my story, as you know, is not always like that. 10 years ago, I was a mess with that kind of stuff. And finally, God had to work on me and say, okay, I've got to make this an obedient part. So our church, legitimately, we could do this. Now, it will take lots of people giving at all different levels. It'll be different gifts, but equal sacrifice. Some of you will be able to give a $10,000 gift. Some of you will be able to give a $100 gift. And you'll give it to God through Thrive Church. And you'll give it so we can provide something for the community. That's the crazy thing about this. We're not just doing this and saying, hey, we just want a home for our church so only our church people can come. That's just not our vision. You know, our vision is to be a place for people who've given up on God and given up on church. And then our mission is to help them find and follow Jesus. So we're going to create this space. And so here are some dates that you need to know about. Dates. Let's go back to dates. April 12 and 13. We're asking this week on Friday and Saturday you do a 2-day fast to finish the 21 days of prayer and fasting, a 2-day fast from food. Now some of you are like, Jason, I can't. Okay, that's okay. Well, you don't know medically. Okay. Like, I get it. Fast from a meal or fast from something. One Starbucks or one trip to McDonald's or one Coke or whatever it is. But join us if you can, 2 days fasting from food and spend extra time in prayer. Next Saturday morning, 8:30 a.m., we're going to pray around 1719 South Mission. If you've never been on a prayer walk, you need to be there. Come on. Step out of your comfort zone. We're not going to put you on the spot and make you pray, none of that kind of stuff. But come and join us. And then next Sunday is our Commitment Sunday. It's also Palm Sunday. So we're asking you as a family, as a person, as someone who's a part of Thrive, to on your own go, okay, what can I do for my best one-time financial gift to the For Central Michigan campaign? I know someone who sold their car and is using some of the proceeds to give to this. I know someone who's been cashing out some stocks to be able to give to this. I know someone who's been selling things on Facebook Marketplace so they could raise money for this. I know someone like our family. We sat down and we said, what could we sell? And so I've been taking pictures. When we adopted Kai, we still have a mattress on the ground because we sold our bed. We're so ghetto. We haven't bought a bed because we're like, that's a lot of money. We have 5 kids, so our mattress is just on our ground. People in our small group don't even get fazed by it. They used to like judge us. They would look in our bedroom and go, your mattress is on the ground? We're like, yeah, don't judge us. No, they didn't do that. I'm kidding. But we're looking around our home and going, what else can we sell? So we can help provide this. So we're asking you to bring your best one-time financial gift next Sunday. Then to make a monthly pledge till the end of the year. We're not asking for 2 years. We're not asking for 3 years. We're not even asking for a year. But what can your monthly pledge be on top of your regular giving? So I'll tell you this, and it scared the living bejesus out of me. A month ago, I was driving to a speaking thing. God was talking to me, and he just said, you need to double your giving. And I said, let me turn up the radio. And so 2 weeks later, I pulled Tracy aside and I said, hon, I got something to talk to you about. And typically when her and I do that kind of thing, we're either planning a church or adopting a kid. So, I mean, these are like scary things. And I just said, hon, I think God's calling us to double our giving from May to the end of the year for the For Central Michigan. And she's like, oh. Because honestly, that's ridiculously scary for us. That'd be 20% of our income. And I'm not telling this to brag. I'm not telling all that. I'm just telling you because I want to be the pastor that models stuff. So you're not like, well, I bet he doesn't do it. Oh no. Like we're vested in this thing. And we believe it so passionately. And so if I could sell a kidney, like I would do it, you know, I would do it. And then Sunday, Easter Sunday, April 21st, we're going to announce what we've raised to date. We're going to announce what came in on pledges. And then from those decisions, we're then able to plan. And right now, God's opening up the door for both spaces. We thought we were just going to move into 1719. God is opening up this tremendous favor that we can actually rent both spaces for less money than we paid at Central Michigan University. It's just powerful. It's just powerful. And if you've been able to walk through both spaces, it's just massive. And so when we do the demo night where we rip out the ceiling and rip out the walls, and then we see this big, giant open space where we're going to turn into a space for the community, it's rocking. Like people walk through Friday night going, holy cow, this is big. Holy cow. And I'm like, yeah, this is what God's doing in our midst. Dave Shepard just had someone the other day, a friend, just donate $4,000 to the building fund because he believes in our vision. I have a friend in California who is going to call me and say, I want to donate $1,000. And I said, okay. And I said, hey, what if we do a match? Like I go on Facebook and I say, I have a friend who's going to give $1,000 and he'll give $1,000 if you match it. And he goes, that's not enough money. Let me talk to my wife. So he's going back to his wife to get more money so we can do a bigger match. Like this is just crazy. And we're going to need people giving at all different levels for what God's called you to give. Because here are some pictures of what this space could look like. Here's some pictures. So look at the top left corner. Like we could put a playscape in for families to come during the week and not have to buy a cheeseburger. Like, look at this big giant open lobby where college kids and people and business people could work throughout the week and be there. Look at the auditorium that we could provide. And we could have a concert venue for the area where we could host concerts. I mean, we could host things throughout the week, a tutoring center. We could host a homeless shelter. I want to have a YouTube studio where we're raising up teenagers and kids and teaching them how to use YouTube, because YouTube's not going away. Like, it's just powerful. So next Sunday is, I think, the most important Sunday of our church's history. There won't be a donut wall. There won't be a band playing in the lobby. There'll just be hundreds and hundreds of Thrivers who have legitimately sought God during the week and said, God, how can I be a part? So that's what I'm challenging you to do this week. Let me pray for you. God, thank you so much for our time together today. Thank you for what you're doing in our lives. We just ask, Lord God, that you do tremendous things in Jesus' name. Amen. Hey, before we leave, because I'm already over time, I want to make sure on the way out you get these. These are Easter door hangers. My family's going to go around our neighborhood, put these on the doors in our neighborhood. I know these work because in the very beginning of our church, we put these on doors, and our bass player this morning, who's been here for the entire time of our church except 1 week, Jessica Heron, she had a Thrive, Not Your Mama's Church door hanger put on her door when we first started, and it was enough to get her here, and her leadership has been phenomenal to our church for 5.5 years. Also, we have these yard signs. If you live in the middle of nowhere, don't take one. Don't take one. We love you, but if you live with like good traffic, take one so people will see these. And then lastly, on the Saturday before Mother's Day, we have an event called Run Like a Mother, and it's a 5K. We want as many people to run or walk in it as possible, because when you register, it helps support our teenagers go to Big Stuff Summer Camp this summer. And even if you don't want to run, just come and walk. Come and support. Like, I dream of hundreds of Thrivers being a part of this, because it's just a powerful day. So make sure you go on Facebook, get the information. I've been putting the links in the mass emails, so you should have it. So we're excited. Easter Sunday is going to be just tremendous, and we can't wait. Thrive Church, love you. Can't wait to finish this series next week and see how your love's going to transform your community.